autoclaved aerated concrete block and panel production process. The weighed fly ash or sands, loaded by wheel loader, are conveyed into ball mill through belt conveyor for grinding, to be made into slurry and stored in slurry tank. The cement and the lime are respectively conveyed into silos for storage. The meshes made of ring steel wire are welded by full automatic specialized welding production line. The meshes or mesh cages, treated with anti-corrosion liquid and dried in drying oven, which are transmitted to automatic circulate rack of assembly frame by ferry car and are lifted by crane to the designated position preparing to be inserted into mold. The prepared raw materials are weighed by electronic scale and poured into pouring mixer following procedure for high-speed mixing. The weighing process is automatically controlled by PLC. While weighing and mixing, the empty mold is loaded into pouring ferry car and conveyed to the pouring position waiting for pouring. The mixed slurry is poured into the empty mold by the lifting arm of mixer. The big bubbles generated during pouring which could be removed by the bubble removing machine. When producing blocks, the molds are directly conveyed to the pre-curing room for constant temperature pre-curing. When producing panels, the meshes or cages are inserted into the positioned mold by the inserting machine. When the blocks in molds meet cutting requirements after pre-curing, the molds are transmitted to the conveying line by the ferry car. When producing panels, the assembly frame and the steel drill are pulled out from the mold by the pulling unit, and the mold is transmitted under the tilting hoister by the friction wheel. The mold is lifted by the tilting hoister to the cutting position automatically. Turned 90 degrees and placed on the locating pedestal of the first cutting car for demolding process. After demolding, the mold is assembled with cleaned side plate. The empty mold is lifted onto the mold return line and oiled by the automatic oiler, waiting for next pouring. The cake loaded on the first cutting car shall be cut out of waste. The cake surface is cut after broken process. Then cake is grooved by grooving device and cut through horizontal cutting device. After horizontal cutting, the cutting car is conveyed to the vertical cutting location. The side plate and the cake are vertically cut from bottom to top, driven by lifting device. During the process of vertical cutting, the frames swing back and forth. After vertical cutting, the waste absorbed by vacuum device shall fall off automatically. The cake is transmitted under the semi-product hoister by second cutting car and lifted onto the tilting table, which is with the function of synchronous orientation for tilting. The waste on cake and side plate are removed by cleaning machine. After removing waste, the cake is lifted onto the autoclaving trolley by semi-product hoister. For pre-grouping, the pre-grouped autoclaving trolley is transmitted onto the grouping ferry car by friction wheel, transferred to the rail in the front of autoclave by grouping ferry car, and grouped before entering into autoclave. The grouped autoclaving trolleys entered into autoclaves by traction device automatically. The finished products after autoclaving shall be pulled out from autoclaves by automatic ferry car. The autoclaving trolleys shall be transmitted to the returning line by the ferry car after it is automatically unhooked. The block shall be lifted onto the heavy loading side plate roller after separating. Which transmits the block under the block clamper. The block clamper takes block onto stacking line for combining two blocks together, which shall be conveyed under the rotating hoister. Then the blocks shall be lifted onto the packing line for being packed horizontally by frame packer. The panel shall be sorted by block clamper, then lifted onto the packing line separately for being packaged and transferred to the storage yard by forklift or delivery to customer site directly. Relying on advanced design conception, perfect service system, strong team strength, and professional industry perspective, Jiangsu Runding will provide autoclaved aerated concrete production line with accuracy, high efficiency, and intelligence. We are looking forward to be your cooperative partner.